So, first few videos to be published now, back from AquaH. Fantastic weekend. I was absolutely shattered at the end of it. I got a quick video out last night, and now I'm just going through some of the videos, and the first one I'm going to release is a video from the guy at Reef Zlements, Jose. Hopefully I got that right, and hopefully that makes up for my poor cropping at the beginning of this. Apologies, bear with it. It does pull up a little bit, and I do sort it out. It just takes a little while. I didn't want to cut it because there's loads of really interesting information in here about the pH plus and complete dosing systems, and the new part 2, which is called universal. So I'm going to stop waffling, put you right over to the guy with all the knowledge, and hopefully you enjoy this. I'm not dosing at the moment in my tank. I'm looking, when I do my ICP tests, I'm getting them back with a lot of my trace elements low or undetectable. You know, what would be the best avenue for me to fix that?
So the first question I have for you is, do you monitor pH?
Yes, but manually.
Okay, so what would be your pH at the peak hours, if you know that, and at the lowest point, you know?
Yeah, so it varies between 7.8 and 8.3.
Okay, so your lowest point is actually on the lower side,
Yeah.
and then your peak is actually on the upper side. So you have a big amplitude of pH. So my advice would be initially start with complete. So start with complete. Start dosing it on an hourly basis, according to the new method that we launched called H2P, which is not a dosing method, it's a methodology to run an aquarium. So it touches all aspects of managing an aquarium, from the pre-requirements of setting up an aquarium to dosing, to trace dosing, why would you need trace dosing, what levels you should maintain, and all of that. So if you go through the method, which is available on our website, there's 2 manuals there. One which is a quick guide to quick start with the method, 20-page manual, explains you how you should set it up. So if you follow that, then it will be easier to set. But then if you want to understand why we do things we do, if you want to understand the science, if you want to understand everything behind the method and our philosophy of running reef aquariums, as we've been doing for the last 25 years, then probably it's a good idea to read the book, the comprehensive manual. It's well, as I say, it's comprehensive. It's a 142-page manual, with all the science behind, with everything that you probably can need to run a reef aquarium. Now, to answer your question about how you should start, I would personally start with complete.
Yeah.
You would set up your alkalinity to, let's say, 6.8 to 7. And I know that's a bit controversial, and the industry has always advocated a higher alkalinity. The reality is you don't encounter the alkalinities that everyone advocates in the sea anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So we think, given the technology we have today, given the reliability of the pumps, given the alarms we can set up in our monitors that we might have, it doesn't make sense to run high levels of alkalinity when today we can manage alkalinity properly, we can manage pH properly with the H2P method. So we advocate an alkalinity level closer to ocean levels, to sea levels.
Yeah.
So if you set up your alkalinity anything between 6.8 and 7, you will be able to kind of determine what is the amount of part 1, so complete, that you should dose. So you set it up for that volume, and then you can, if you don't know your calcium consumption, you can set up universal or part 2,
Yeah.
which is basically a rebrand of the original part 2. So it's a rebrand of pH Plus part 2 and complete part 2. So it's exactly the same. It's just to facilitate kind of retailers, instead of having two part
makes
twos,
sense.
they have only one. And even us as hobbyists, it's probably easier.
Yeah.
So you set it up at the same amount or volume that you are dosing of part 1, and then you need to monitor calcium every 3 to 4 days and see, is it going up or is it going down or is it stable. So if it's stable, you just leave it. Obviously, if it's going down, you need to increase it a bit. It's actually quite unlikely, but it can happen. And if it's going up, you need to reduce part 2, which is the normal kind of scenario. So you adjust both parts to the required levels, and then you observe for the next 3-4 weeks, always testing alkalinity, always testing calcium, if the levels stay stable. And then after the 3-4 weeks, you take an ICP. That's my recommendation, taking an ICP. See what levels you have. And if needed, then you can start trace dosing.
Yeah.
I will say that probably you should, and it's beneficial to the aquarium, that you add some traces on top of the main dosing method. Not because the method or the solutions don't have those traces, they have those traces, but because of what's called residency times. So that's mainly the amount of time that traces keep in solution before being removed out of the water column. By that I mean either through precipitation, through consumption, through export of the mechanical filtration, or oxidation, or any other kind of phenomena that actually can remove the traces from the water column. So you can set it up as we recommend on the method, and that will mean that actually the traces will be more available throughout the days and throughout the time in the water column, so that the corals can have access to those traces. So that would be kind of my recommendation in terms of the traces, and then it's just my advice is monitoring with regular ICPs to make sure that nothing is getting elevated or nothing is getting depleted, and you always keep kind of the levels you want and the levels you need and the levels we recommend maintaining for keeping healthy corals and healthy animals and an healthy biome in the aquarium overall. So that's kind of the nutshell overview of how to set up the method. It's not complicated, and I'm sure if you then potentially need to, for example, elevate your pH during the night, which I assume is probably your lowest point, where you have 7.8, you mentioned. You may consider, if you don't have a pH manager. If you don't have a pH manager, you may consider, I'm monitoring the pH manually. I know that between these times the pH is low. So what I would do, and what the H2P method kind of advocates and recommends, is that you replace the amount of complete that you are dosing during those low pH hours by pH plus. So that will basically mean that during those lower pH times, you are pushing your pH further up than with complete, and you will see the I would say the amplitude of pH reducing. Yes, you may have a bit of an increase over the peak time, but if you keep those incomplete during the daylight, so during the period where corals are photosynthesizing, then you probably will narrow the pH amplitude, and that's the concept around the H2P method. It's to kind of stabilize both alkalinity and pH. So you can play with complete and pH plus even without the pH manager. You can do it manually to basically reduce the pH amplitude and give your corals the highest stability you can give. So that's kind of the methodology, or the idea behind the method. Is to basically use complete or pH plus and pH plus interchangeably to kind of level the pH, and at the same time you level the alkalinity. So that's basically how you do it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, apologies for the audio. That door, it really was that loud in person as well. It sounded like a gunshot going off. And lots of people walking around behind us talking. It wasn't how it, when I started recording it, it was not like that. Everyone just kind of decided because we were recording they'd come over and talk. So apologies again. I did have this mic with me, but I only have one of them, and I thought because there'd be two of us talking, we'd be better off with the microphone on the top. That was a mistake. Lesson learned. I think that's the only video I shot with that microphone. So good news. All the rest of them will sound much better. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, which will be really soon.